Hi, my name is Andrea Soten, and for my accounting scandal, I have chosen Enron from 2001. Oh, come on. Okay, so Enron. So, who and what is Enron? Enron is an American energy commodity and service company formed by 1985 merger of Lay's Houston Natural Gas of Texas and Inner North of Omaha, Nebraska. It was founded by Kenneth Lay, and he was named by the first CEO and chair. Enron became the largest seller of natural gas in North America in 1992. This is Kenneth Lay right here. So, January of 1992, the SEC allowed Enron to use mark-to-market accounting instead of traditional accrual accounting. It allows an asset to remain on the books as the price it was bought for, then only updated to current market price once it was sold. Um, this was one of the ways that Enron was able to hide a lot of their secrets. However, even though there was a lot of stuff going in the back, Enron was able to put on a good front. In fact, from 1996 to mid 2001, Enron's stock was at an all-time high of $90.56 a share. They sold over 17.3 million shares of stock. So one of the terms that popped up a lot was gas bank. It started with Enron creating a series of contracts between buyers and sellers. Enron was the connection and then charged the fees. So they never actually delivered anything. They were just in charge of making the connections and giving out the loans. Later, this is kind of known as energy derivative. Enron used their own 37,000 miles of their interstate natural gas pipelines networks to distribute natural gas for a price. They were able to freely control market supply and its pricing thanks to the eliminated price controls of the Reagan era. Pictured here is Jeffrey Skilling. 1997, he takes over as the CEO and with plans to expand Enron investments more than just natural gas. However, these investments end up flopping. They failed to produce any profits. Instead, they resulted in a $10 million loss. Investors were kept in the dark of all the troubles they had. Instead, Andy Fastow, pictured here, created LJM and LJM2 in 1999. These initials was actually Fastow's wife and children initials. The Enron board, here's another red flag. Actually, even though there was a conflict of interest, the Enron board allowed Andrew Fastow to manage both Enron and the two partnerships. CEO Jeff Skilling and Fastow used these partnerships as a hedge to SEC with falsified financial statements as they secretly moved underperforming assets away from Enron books to these two partnerships. So some of the downfall of Enron started popping up in 2001. Skilling suddenly resigns, stating personal matters. Ken Lay takes back over as CEO. Kenneth Lay encourages his employees to keep buying stock. The company's doing well. There's no reason to get nervous. But he also blocks the employees from selling their stock. Sharon Watkins, an Enron VP, ended up being the anonymous whistleblower that sent a letter to Lay suggesting that Skilling left because of accounting improprieties and other illegal actions. David Duncan, Enron's top auditing executive for Arthur Andersen, tells his auditors to destroy all Enron files, except Enron's most basic documents, pending an SEC probe. So red flags are starting to pop up. In November, SEC probe reveals that Enron inflated its income by around $586 million ever since 1997. Because of this, Enron shares fall to $20.75. December of 2001, Enron ends up filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with an estimated loss of totaling $74 billion. Its stock closes at 26 cents a share. Some of the results: CFO Andy Fasto was charged with 78 counts of fraudulent conduct and sentenced to 6 years prison. Jeff Skilling, who was the second CEO, was charged with 19 of 28 counts of wire fraud, securities fraud, and sentenced to 24 years in prison, which ended up being 14 years, with a $45 million fine. Kenneth Lay was the first and third CEO. He ended up being convicted of 6 counts of fraud, but he ended up dying of a heart attack while visiting his cabin. So what did I learn? Most of all the executives of Enron were involved. It wasn't just one person. They used elaborate code names for investments and bank transactions. They lied to the general public and employees about their financial strength. They took advantage of minimal regulations of the time, deliberately falsified records or had records destroyed to keep scheme going. And in July of 2002, President George W. Bush signs the Sarbanes-Oakley Act to mandate financial record keeping and reporting for corporations going forward. And this is my references. So I really appreciate you letting me do this presentation, and thank you very much.